Bienvenido a la programa con Paola aquí en really bienes raíces, but real estate essentials.
Yeah, bienes raíces.
Bienes raíces.
Esenciales sería en español.
Taxi, ¿entiendes? Do you understand?
No.
Poquito, but no.
Oh, but you say poquito.
You gotta get over here. And
Yes, come on.
Scoot on over as we do it. Break it.
Do I need to get this closer, or is this good?
I think that's fine for a third. Well, let's see. Get it closer. So put it right where your right thigh is. Attach it there. See your right thigh? So attach it. Yeah, move it over there so you can attach it.
Oh, yeah, no.
And we can always move the camera that way as well too. So just to go for 3 microphones today. Put that one down
I'm
for
in
now.
technical support today, so
Yes, you are. What you might have to do, Paola, is scoot up close because you need.
How about we start just
Jay's office.
Yes.
talking about ourselves and how we get in real estate?
Okay.
I like that.
We like to talk about ourselves, everyone, because what better person to talk about than ourselves?
It's the best thing to do.
Jake, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing today? Well, in this society, right? In today's society, we're so narcissistic. We're
Yeah.
in a selfie society.
Yeah.
Not selfie, well, selfish too, but selfie, right? We always like, look at me, look at it.
And you
have
have
you
to be
seen-
good too.
And now, I always think it's really funny about realtors that say, come look at my house, and the whole time they're doing this, and they're like, what do you think of this house? I'm like, am I looking at the house or am I looking at you?
Yeah.
Right. And if you're a realtor that does that, no problem. It's your style, but I'm just saying, show the house. you know,
Exactly.
right? Show the house.
You can show yourself at the beginning, I think. Just to
Of course,
show
you need to. And you can do it through clips too, throughout the house, which is fine with
Yeah.
have somebody film it. Like there's a difference like with what we do with full motion video.
Yes.
We're not doing selfies. There's somebody there with a camera following us as we go through the house or they're filming it. So you might be walking into a room and it is nice to walk into some of the rooms so you can get a scale of it because you might walk into a huge room and it doesn't look that big.
Yeah.
But if you were to walk in that room, it would be like a big room, right?
Yeah,
Because of the scale. It's not different.
Yeah, I was talking yesterday with in TikTok on live, and I was saying about this that it's so much better to have a full video because it's like you're walking on it instead of
Absolutely.
pictures. Pictures cannot capture that.
I agree.
Right. The interaction is very different
Yeah, yeah.
from pictures to video.
Isn't it crazy how, and Amazon says it sells 70% more with full motion video. The same thing with homes with people. They get an idea. It's hard for people to see what things look like on the end result when they don't have that visionary state in their mind. Most people don't.
Yeah.
Very few people do. If you're a stager, if you've been in this business a while, if you do any type of architecture, design work, you can see it before it's done, but most people can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why the video is really good.
Yeah, gives you a vision. Like, I think it's the emotion to be there, to be in that place and be able to see corner to corner and around instead of just a plain picture. I like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Gives it also dimension too.
Yeah.
You know, almost like you're in there. You're in that room.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge. Right?
Can you believe one day we can do a 3D with like?
They have some of that now.
Oh, really?
They have that now.
We had to
That's
do that.
A 3D walkthrough, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
With the Oculus, yeah, with the lens.
Oh,
yeah.
So they do have some of these cameras that are like 3D lens cameras or they're virtual cameras. So you walk through and it's actually like you're walking through the house.
Oh, I love that, especially for people who is like not able to come to the house because they're from another
And yes.
state
yes.
or country.
You know what? I think you just got into a niche.
Yeah.
Right, people that are moving here from another country or moving from another state.
Yes.
We're going to create these videos so it's like you're virtually in the house. And I always say selling, by the way, is so market. We're marketers. Everybody's
yeah.
like, I sell houses. No, we don't. We
No,
market.
yeah, that's
And the
true.
better marketer you are, the better the house will sell. The quicker it will sell, right?
Yeah.
No one wants to buy something you watch it on TV or a commercial and you're like, oh, that's fine. But if it's, I always say sex and cheese sells, right? So if it's sexy and it's cheesy,
Exactly.
because remember it might show my age, but Robin Leach of the Rich and Famous, right? He painted a picture like, oh, that's
I don't have idea what you're talking about.
And how did he say, welcome to the rich and... No, that was a different one. No, he's more English, right?
No, it was,
Yeah.
that was pretty good though. I have
Yeah.
to say that was pretty good. But he painted this picture and people want that lifestyle. They want that image.
Yeah.
And people buy stuff not so much about what it does for them, but how it makes them feel because
Yes.
everybody else sees them. They validate them, right? So it's like if I drive a Porsche, people are going to look at me a certain different way than driving a Pinto. Do you know what Pinto is?
No.
So a Pinto,
Oh, no.
show my age
is
again.
that?
Right? So a Pinto is like a Nova. Remember Novas? Back in the day, they didn't sell very good in Mexico because Nova means no go. So they're trying to sell this car that's also knowing your market, right? Understanding the dynamic of your market. So, or let's think of a car like a rundown Toyota Tercel or I don't know how to.
Sorry, I'm not big with cars.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a
Maybe
terrible car.
clothes or
clothes?
purse
Okay,
or something
okay.
like that.
Okay,
I
so
will
you're looking
understand.
like a Gucci or Louis
Okay.
Vuitton versus.
Okay. Now I
Now you're
get it.
speaking our
Yes.
language.
Okay, so let's step into the world here for just a second.
Sorry.
So I got to take off my manly
Yeah.
knowledge of cars, right? And that's the thing, and that's the other thing too is understanding your clients.
Yes.
Women will buy a house and property differently for different reasons than men, and that's why you always cater for kitchens and bathrooms and things like that that are going to make it. That's why they always say, like my grandma. We always said this is grandma's house, but grandpa's farm. Because he
Yes.
managed the 1,600
Exactly.
acres that was outside all the time. That was his farm, but inside that was grandma's house.
Yes.
Yep. And
Right?
she makes everything to be clean and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
She makes the
Yeah.
rules. Don't mess with grandma. Right? And so women, they look at things differently than us men do. So that's why you have like a, let me turn that off completely. So what you do is you have ideas of how that's done, but we don't really know it until we start into it. And people are afraid to start marketing. They're afraid to just jump into it. You just moved
Yeah.
over here to Real Estate Essentials, right?
Yeah, I just moved here because I feel like,
Like today?
No, it was a week
A
ago.
week ago,
But
yes.
it's kind of today, it's kind of like
That's
today is
awesome.
my first time like meeting you
Yeah.
in person.
Yep. Yep.
I saw you in the meeting that you were like going to California, right?
That's what California.
I remember that, and
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
one lead because of.
Yeah, so that's really, it's really cool about
Yes.
our marketing too, and this is great for anyone watching this
Mm-hmm.
podcast episode for you because when we do stuff like this in the studio, when we have some tools that are different than, I mean, who else is out there in Utah and has a studio like we do? Not that I
one.
know of. You might be out there. Let us know if you
Yeah.
are. We'll compete. Okay. So,
We can chat.
but I got that lead in California because he saw me and my daughter doing a podcast. He goes, "Man, that was the best video you've ever done yet." I was like, "That's cool." He goes, "I need help on my house,"
Yeah.
and there turns out to be some issues with the old owner and the house, and it can be kind of scary. If you don't know what you're doing, it's going to scare you.
Yeah.
And so understanding how that works, and that's why they hired me. One, they found me, so you got to be able to be findable, and two, you got to be likable, right? They like you,
Yeah.
right? And so, and that's why we see a lot of these TikToks that people are funny and they're dancing, you know, they're doing all these things that are drawing people into them. Because if I talk monotone all the time and like this, and I'm
Boring,
talking-
boring,
yeah, it's
boring.
boring really quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so people they like to be liked and they like to be acknowledged, and no one cares about what you have to say until they know that you care about them first.
Exactly.
And what's going
Yeah.
on. And so that's the difference is in marketing. And if you can show them your value or you show them a niche, something that's different, whether it's a tagline that stands out besides any other agent that's out there, and or you have a special niche or a gift, like you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Did you know 40% of Utahns last year, the people that moved to Utah or
Well,
bought pot,
yes.
they were
They're
Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
I remember years ago I was doing door-to-door sales, and I remember the first time we were selling these kid videos, and you had an option of selling it in Spanish. And back then I was 25, 26, and I had I didn't speak any Spanish, right?
Or what
I
is
was like-
this?
yeah, they're like, well, you asked them at the end, one of the closing statements was, would you like to send English or Spanish?
Yeah.
I'm like, how many of you ever sold in Spanish? Like, we've never sold one. I said, okay. So the very first appointment I go to, I talk to him the whole time in English. At the very end, I said, would you like that in Spanish or English? They go, oh, you have that in Spanish? I'm like, yeah. We'd like to do it in Spanish. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more comfortable for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because, like moving to this country and want to do a huge like deal as buying a house, you want to be comfortable with someone who speaks the language. You know,
Absolutely.
you get someone you can trust and someone who can understand what this is really important.
It's the same thing going from the U.S. to Mexico, by the way. So in
Yeah.
La Paz, a big thing. When I first moved there, I had an opportunity to buy a couple pieces of property there, and
Oh.
I didn't trust it because
Yes.
in Mexico, they're, oh, you could do whatever you want. You could, build whatever you want. It doesn't matter, right? And I didn't know.
The
And-
rules.
Exactly. And so having somebody you can trust. So whether you go
Yeah.
from U.S. to Mexico or Mexico from to U.S. or Canada, whatever it is,
Yeah.
having somebody that you trust makes a big difference, right?
And then you can communicate because sometimes I can understand English, but not all the jokes,
That is
all
true.
the slang. And then when you can communicate with other people in your own language, it's really easy to like take more like understand that person and
And
what they need.
where are you from?
I'm from Honduras.
Okay, Honduras.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's different, right? Even the slang in Honduras is
Yes.
different than Costa Rica or
It will be different
Argentina.
from inside Honduras.
Yes.
From the south and the north is different. We talk different. It's like U.S. I moved from North Carolina, and people over there have their accent, and it's different than moving here to Utah. People in Utah speak really, really fast.
Yes.
Over there, it's more like "Hi, sweetheart," and
Hi, sweetie.
yeah, oh
Would you
my-
like sweet tea?
yeah. People over there, I love the people of the south.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's funny about that too because in any language, there's not just the accent, but they have different words.
Yeah, it's slang.
You know,
yeah.
like even in Mexico, for example, like que chido or que padre, right? They both mean how cool is that? Like
Yeah.
if you translate it by the way to English, que padre, it's like what father,
yeah.
right? But it's a slang. But
Yeah.
or chingong is another one that it's like all different.
Yeah.
That's more of a I would call it like a dirty slang, but it's like it means cool, but it's like in the barrio, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
So it's like different levels of where you're at that you learn. And I learned bad words when I was in construction. That's the only Spanish I knew
Yes,
for a long time, right?
for sure.
But when you get into the cultural, and that's what you call immersion, is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
understanding the different languages, understanding what that phrase means. And it's the same thing. Like I don't feel comfortable doing real estate in Spanish yet because I'm fluent. You and I could have an hour-long conversation. As long as you don't
Mm-hmm. yeah.
yell at me and get all mad and talk really fast, I
Yeah.
would understand you. Right? So,
Well, I have to try to keep on you because you speak really fast.
yes, and the exact same
I'm just
thing in
kidding.
English, right? Like,
Yeah.
So and that-
Especially here in Utah. I don't know. Have you been in other like you were from here?
Yes.
I'm from Utah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Have you been in other parts living in the U.S.?
No, just visited. But Mexico is one place I would really like to go. So when you guys are talking about this, I'm just sitting here. Oh wow.
when am I going?
I know exactly.
He has properties
That's
over
this.
there.
Like, let's go. You know?
Let's rent his Airbnb. What do you have over there?
A house.
A house. Let's do that.
Right? Let's
oh
all
my
go
goodness,
and-
amazing. Yeah.
Immerse ourselves into this.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's really the key is immersion makes a big
Yes,
difference.
actually does make huge difference. My husband is American,
Mm-hmm.
and when we start dating, I speak a little bit English because my background, I'm environmental engineering,
Mm-hmm.
and in my school we had to pass certain level of English. But then he is from North Carolina, like I said, and then he is really like I forgot what I was going to say.
How did you guys end up in? He's from North Carolina?
Yeah, he's from North
How'd
Carolina
you guys end up in Utah?
because of me.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, babe, you're getting out here, you're following
Yeah.
me, and there's no question about that.
We've got to
So-
hear about this.
Yeah, my mom and my dad and my sister lives here in Utah. They moved here like 7 years ago. So I want to be near to them. I left all my country, all my culture, everything for my husband. And then I felt like I want to just go over there and be with my family again. So he was so nice, and he decided to follow me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They follow you to the ends of the earth, right?
That's one thing that with Spanish, you know,
Yeah.
they're very close, family oriented. You know,
Yes.
and it's not just. I mean, it's a feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely, and so I feel like you guys could, you know, connect that way on a much deeper level.
Especially for my kids. Like I remember now what I was going to say. With my kids, they speak Spanish, they understand Spanish, but it's because my parents are here. So they're trying to talk with them and they understand them. And that will be lost if we stay in North Carolina.
Yes.
And I want my kids to be proud of their culture, be proud of speaking Spanish. Because something is, I don't know, have you ever see someone who looks Hispanic and you say, how you speak Spanish? And they say no. And to me that, I mean, everyone can do their own decisions, but to me that is sad, you know, because Spanish is a really, really beautiful language.
Absolutely.
And it's in business right now. My kids are in Chinese immersion right now, so they will be trilingual. So I like culture. I like that. And if you're immersed in the culture, like if you want to go for 1 year to another country, you will learn that language.
That's great. You know what's funny about that too is even in La Paz, where I live down there, and the schools, some of these kids, they're like 8, 9, 10 years old, and they have 5 languages that they know. Right? They know Japanese, English, Spanish, Chinese,
That is
and
amazing.
French.
Yeah,
They
kids-
all seem to be like learning these. And so I have a lot of friends that have these young kids, and in these schools they teach them these different languages, and it's amazing how absorbent we are with information when we're younger. Right? We always want our kids to be better off in
Yeah.
school.
And do you know you to have a lot of immersion programs in
Yes.
different language? I love that. That was one of the things that makes me more excited about moving here to Utah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Utah is actually a pretty decent place, I gotta tell you. You know,
Yeah.
so the people are nice here.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing that draws me here, me too. Well, my daughter goes to school out here. My dad's out here. He's getting older. That's one of the main reasons why I moved here. Right? And so I was like, you know, I've been a broker in 20 years in California,
Oh, okay.
doing business, flipping houses, doing real estate for a while. And I'm like, well, why don't I start it up in Utah? Well, I come out here and it's like I'm a kid all over again. It's like starting anew, starting the networks,
So true.
starting the connections. When you're starting from ground zero, it takes a lot of horsepower to get that going, and you might have experienced that.
Exactly.
So tell us about your journey coming from North
Honduras.
Carolina to Honduras. But,
Yeah, it's a really like hard journey because I left my country when I was 23, and I married my husband, and then I didn't have the language. It was a barrier for me. I went to college, and in 6 months I was able to speak the language really well. Well, not perfect, you know, but
Wait a minute, you learned English in 6 months?
Yes.
And just started speaking it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
because
amazing.
because I have like the background, you know, but not the connections to do like immersion, to do conversations, to just talk with someone or listen to native people
Right,
talking about like, especially in North Carolina. Have you ever heard people from there?
Do they have like the draws?
But John, he's in our office. He's
Yes.
from North Carolina as well.
Well, my father-in-law, when I was learning English, and then my father-in-law is from the mountains, so it's really, really hard. I'm still learning his English.
That's
What,
right. It's
what
different.
does it sound like from the
It's like,
mountains?
Yeah, I don't know, y'all.
Oh, okay, the draws.
Y'all. Yeah, everything is like
Drawn out,
long.
drawn out.
Yes. Hi, honey. How are you? I don't know. I cannot do it. I'm not
How
good.
y'all doing?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that?
something like that. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, I do have accents. I don't have other languages, but I do have accents. And if I
Oh.
went to North Carolina,
You will say.
oh, I would be just like them. Like, Asha could be your Georgia Page.
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
Yes.
That part of it does come out. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I would love to go and
It's beautiful.
And the
I
people
mean,
there?
People there are amazing. I feel like I found a family over there. It was hard at first, you know, because at first, I don't know, I'm an LDS. So I moved to a Spanish ward over there. So I speak Spanish, and then we moved to another place where the Spanish branch will be an hour to go. So
Long
we,
time- long
yes,
ways.
it was a long traveling. So we decided to stay in the English ward, and then I think it was 2 weeks after that they called me to do like the teaching for young kids, yeah, and then Sunday school. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't speak English very well, but the kids helped me so much, and then also the people treat me so well, and I was so happy over there with the people, the friends that I met over there. People is always welcoming you. If you go to the store, they say, hello, how are you? Are you okay? Tell me, honey. Something like that. Every time you go to the store, they will say hi. Every time you go to a place, people will say, hi, how are you? I haven't met you, and everything like that. When I moved to Utah, that is completely
oh, it's
different.
very different here.
Very
yes,
different, yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be kind of the same thing because, you know, like you say, I have to do new connections. I have to talk with new people. One of the things that I really love about Utah is they have a lot of community that is Latin community. So I go to the Spanish where I can understand more and be more me, you know.
Here in Utah.
Yeah, here in Utah. In North Carolina, I didn't have that. So that's one of the things that I miss
Yes.
in North Carolina, my connection with the Latin community. And then here in Utah, I have that, and I'm so grateful about that.
And how long you been here in Utah?
It's been 5 years now.
Great. So now, how long you been in real estate in Utah?
3 months, 4 months.
4 months. Okay, so
Yeah.
you weren't a realtor. Over
No,
there? Were you an
no.
engineer at that time?
No. Actually, my background right now is construction.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with my dad and my brother-in-law. They have a commercial and residential remodeling company.
In North Carolina.
No, here.
Oh, here.
Here
Okay,
in
okay.
Utah. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, I did that with them for 3 years. So I did estimated for like the process, finding like construction walls, painting, patching, and all of that. And that made me a lot of good background, I think, because I have a good eye and I say,
Yes.
well, if I see this house, I have potential to do this and give my clients those ideas. I think that's a good.
Till you got tired of working with him and you said, I'm out.
Actually,
gonna
I
be a
did.
realtor now.
It's so hard working with family. Have you ever worked with
Yes.
family?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Your husband and her husband that was just here?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, he works there too. But you
That
know
is
what?
different when it's your husband,
Well, and when we met though, we met at work, but indirectly. But
Yeah.
we didn't work in the same building, but we worked in the same company and stuff. And so ever since we and our second job was the stone collection, so we worked in that. We were both sales reps there for
Oh.
different avenues. He was for the fabricators, I was for the designers and the architects.
Oh.
So we've always just worked well together.
Okay, that's good. To me, it's my dad and my brother-in-law, and there were only men in the company, so it was so hard.
Right, that could
because
be a problem, yeah, sometimes.
and
Would
it
you
was
say that is kind of? Would you say that's more closely because of? Do you think it's because of male female, or do you think it's culture?
I think maybe culture and male female too. Because they are like people they do their own business all the time, so they're not bad persons. The only thing is the stress. That being in vacation. The other day we were in Yellowstone, and we went together to vacation, so we have to work over there.
How was
It's not
that?
vacation. Oh.
It wasn't vacation?
It wasn't vacation, so we have to work. We went to the DR last year for my sister's wedding, and we were in a bus driving to the place that we were going, and all of us with computers talking about the projects and everything, And I mean, I'm done.
I think it's important too. Like you hit on something that's really important, is that we got to be very present with whatever we're doing. When we're working, we need to work.
Yeah.
When we're playing, we need to play.
Yeah.
And when you're an entrepreneur, when you have your own business, and believe me, I struggle with it for years. And so it's one of the things that I've really got really good at, being present. Like I'm here right now, and this is what I'm doing. Nothing else matters. And so
Yeah.
go
My
ahead.
question is how you do that, because there's people over there, their wife especially,
Yeah.
that have this husbands that are entrepreneurs, and they want to know how to balance that.
Yeah, because they want more time for the husbands. Is that what you're saying?
For
They
the
want-
wife.
The wife wants the husband to be more present for them.
Yes,
Got it.
and the
okay.
kids.
So this has to do with an issue of how they run their business, and men struggle at having relationship skills anyway, right? It's really the women have honed this, and we come from this background of hunting and be out there, and we are zipping it.
Yeah.
So we never had practice of this communication where you look at the hunter gatherers, and when we were the gatherers, so they sat around, they talked all the time, so they learned that, they honed that skill, and we don't get taught that very often as well too. So, and we're taught that our value really is: can I provide for my family? Can I protect my family? And do they feel safe? These are kind of the big three that you're looking at. So for us not to be productive, for us not to do that when we have that dynamic behind us, it's difficult to turn that off, because if we feel like as men, if we turn that off, that we're not doing our job, and then our value goes down, right? So there's this dynamic. So how do you do? So your question is how do you do
Yeah,
that?
how do you do that?
And you can't get. Here's the biggest thing that women think is a misconception: is if I tell him more often and I try and train him, he'll listen to me. He won't. However, if I'm his biggest cheerleader at the moments that he thrives, right? And then you give him the space to do what he needs to do, and then say, hey, honey, on this day, at this time, let's turn our phones off and only spend time with us. And it's a little bit. Make it a half hour, make it an hour. And I remember I was married, and I was kind of an asshole when I was married, too. So I was looking back, what was I thinking, But I remember there's
I
one
love your honesty though.
Yes.
Totally, right? And so I was like, I remember thinking, we went to our bishop in our church, and he says, and I was working like 13-hour days, and it was like, he goes, can you give your wife one night a week to have like a date night? I'm like, no, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh
really
my
thought about it like
goodness.
that, right? And that's just how it was. And so, and I was young. I was in my 20s, and I didn't know. I know differently now, being twice my age now. But it's like if I would have known those things back then, I would have done things differently. So men that are learning that balance of, remember, you're single until they get married usually, right? And so you're learning this dynamic. And even when you're dating somebody to versus marrying them, that makes a big difference too, because you haven't got those skills yet. It takes some time, and now all of a sudden you're the stallion that does whatever you want and you run as well. Now you're married and you have a partnership, and you're more like a mule than anything, because you're of service. And that's what relationships really are. Is you're going from this dominant, conquer the world, and we're very competitive as men. We have to be in business to really thrive and get to where we want to go. In relationships, we can't allow that to be in there. It's hard. It really is to pull that out, but it takes practice. And so I would say reward him for be his biggest cheerleader. The bigger cheerleader you are to your husband, the more he'll show up for you in ways that you never thought he would show up before. And because it's really easy for a woman, or the wife, to be like, nah, you did this, or you come home and you neglect me, or this or that, and so it's a dynamic. But men, and that's one thing that I've started, my daughter and I really speak on this a lot, is how to be better men, husbands, and fathers.
Okay.
And really there's this dynamic of how do I do that? How do I integrate? How do I be a kick-ass man? And how do I really thrive and do really well in business and be the number one at my trade craft that I know that I'm doing? How am I number one on that? And then how can I close that down in the day and come home and be the amazing father that I could be?
So let's go back to the biggest cheerleader though.
Yeah.
What is it that if women are the biggest cheerleader for their man, what does that do for them?
Makes them feel invincible, number one. And you don't realize the number one thing, so women can feel love all the time. You know, you speak to your kids differently, they do things, there's certain things that where men get connected to women, but the biggest thing is if a man feels like you have unconditional acceptance for who he is, he'll do everything for you.
I love that. Unconditional
Unconditional acceptance. If you love your man and you accept him unconditionally how he is with everything, if he plays video games, you love it, you know. And
okay.
if you love that he does whatever with his kids, you love. But if you can accept him for all his blemishes and everything, you chose him. You chose him, right? And so I say that to everybody: it's your fault. You chose him. What? It's my fault. Like you are 100% responsible for everything in your life. So just understand, you chose him. That you did it. So just make sure you pick well. Right?
Yeah.
So that's really the key.
Yeah.
And so if you can look at it in that realm of accept him unconditionally for everything, and then he'll show up in an amazing. He'll show up in a better. He'll grow over time and evolve into a much bigger, better man than you could ever imagine.
So you're saying that if your kind words helps a lot.
Huge, right? Because no man. So there's a big thing that we want. What's the biggest thing that men want in their life is peace. Paz, right?
Yeah.
That's why I live in the paz.
I love
But
that.
peace.
Yeah.
But men want peace in their life. So if you can bring peace, now there's this dynamic that men have to learn to have a relationship with women's emotions because women are very emotional.
Yeah,
and men
we're
aren't.
emotional.
And so you just find the ones that have the least amount of crazy, if you can, right? But men have to pick well too. But if you can find a woman that knows how to manage a relationship really well, if she knows how to manage her emotions, because she's gonna get emotional, and the man needs to not take it personally either.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. And so men need to do their part on getting work done, doing the work, so they can understand that part of the relationship and realize they have no clue how it works. So they just gotta don't make the relationship harder for the woman to manage because you get in the way of that. So men have to learn to do that and not take things personal. And when you get emotional, when a woman gets emotional, when they get to that point, like, if you can hold that space for her to let it out
Yeah.
and then move on, she's like, wow, you're amazing. I can't believe you just listened to me.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have to say
Yeah.
anything.
Exactly.
And I'm so sorry I went off on you. Like, no, babe, I get it. You know, you need your moments, and I'm here for you no matter what.
You know,
So at that moment, though, when let's say the woman is, being emotional, and the guy is being present, right? Are you guys thinking about being present and what she's saying, or are you guys kind of off over here and maybe over here in the, thinking about work and things
Sure.
like that?
Yes.
100%.
Depends on who you are, right? Number one. However, my question to you, what's probably the more important question for you is, how do you feel when he's there present listening to you?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I feel good when I was just imagining yesterday talking with my husband. I was so excited about telling him about how awesome this broker is. And he was like, want to go to the bathroom, but he stopped. And I know he hasn't been in the bathroom for a long day. And he always come home and go to the bathroom. But the thing is, he stops and listened to me. And he was just focused on what I was saying. But one thing to me is that he has to say, oh, yeah. Something like that,
Yeah.
because sometimes men just listen. And we need that
Interaction.
interaction. Yeah.
You need to feel
that,
like you're heard. And that's the big thing
Yeah.
that people miss in relationships is, why do people shout? They shout because they don't feel they're being heard. So you have to raise your voice.
Exactly.
Because-
Hear me now.
Yes.
It's like, right? So that's the
Yeah.
thing is if we can just give it a little bit of acknowledgement on both sides. And like when a man does something for you, even if it's not perfect, do you think? If you say, honey, that was so sweet of you, I really appreciate it. And that's it. Because once you go into, I wish it was this way. I wish it was
Yeah.
green.
Then they don't feel like they can do anything right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you do is after the fact, right? Let's just say he buys you flowers and your favorite flower is red. Let's say the red roses.
And he buys you yellow.
He buys you yellow daffodils, right? You're like, these are honey, but they're a waste of money. They're gonna die off. How many have you heard a woman say that to men?
Yeah.
They're just gonna die, honey. But he actually thought of you to
Yes.
go to that
Yeah.
route. And even if they're yellow roses, honey, these are so sweet. Right? And
Yeah.
then enjoy them. A week later, they're still there. Oh my gosh, these are still good. These yellow
Yeah.
ones. I said I love red ones. They're my favorite, but these yellow ones, these are amazing. They've been lasting for so long.
Right.
You plant that seed in his mind
yeah.
now that red, if he's paying attention,
Yeah.
that red is your favorite color, right? And so you didn't make him wrong for buying yellow because he was really sweet about thinking of you and doing that. Because men tend to be on the romantic side and women want them. That's how you with a woman. And,
Perfect.
But we forget. We do. We stop courting women after you're in a long-term relationship with them because our natural state is laziness. It really
Yeah.
is, right? And so if we could understand that as me as a man, where women, kind of the natural state is what? Do you know offhand, do you know what the natural state? If you think about yourself, what your natural state is to not really be critical about things, but when you get emotional and you have reactions to things, you can really go at each other. It's like us men, we're pretty direct with the other men, and women would be like, "Hi, how are you doing? Oh, could you believe that woman? We get back, It's like you talk behind their backs, right? It's like this, and that's the difference. And so if you can understand your difference, and the same thing with a man, like men can't get emotional with their women. If they can, but then they don't feel safe. And when you stop feeling safe or you don't stop feeling taken care of, then you feel like you have to wear the pants. This is the dynamic that we have in these relationships of masculine versus feminine. When a man is masculine enough and holds that space for that woman to be emotional, to be the woman she is, that allows her to have enough space to feel
Safe.
Safe.
exactly. And that's the biggest thing too. And if your woman feels safe with you, she'll never leave you. That's really the bottom
Yeah.
line. She feels taken care of and safe. And it's not like buy me all the jewelry, buy me all these things.
Right.
Yes, there's that part of it. That's the status part. We all have that. But at the bottom line, everybody not taken care of, because I've seen these dating shows. He didn't take care of me. That's why I laughed. I'm like, well,
I
why
was
not?
want to tell you, it's so hard for women because we have to take care of the entire house, and
Yes.
then taking care of our husband too. we don't need someone who take care. We need a partner,
Yep.
someone who we can just say, oh, let's do this together.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've been talking with a lot of women. They feel like that charge, that taking care of the house, the kids, and everything is really emotional. And that's why we are really emotional, because if we wake up, we have to say, oh, we have to take care of the kids. We have to go with the kids to the school. And men just wake up and say, oh, brush my teeth. Oh, I'm getting ready. Not all of them, but getting ready. I'm going to work. And in work, they're just working. But we are like, in work, what we're going to do for dinner, what we're going to do for kids doesn't have clothes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
Well, I know I've told Adam many times
Yeah.
because I was a career woman before I became mom,
Yeah.
like a mom again, because I have a 25-year-old. And it's definitely easier to submerge yourself in work.
Yes.
It's almost, you have to be more present as a mother and as a full-time mom,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whereas at work, you've got the what is it, the fountain talk, where
Yeah.
you go to the cooler, is it the
Water
cooler,
cooler, yeah.
water cooler talk, and it's all fun. You don't have to worry about, a lot of things, but when you're full-time doing that, and it can be really stressful at times.
It is.
Because for a woman, we need time to like decompress, right? We need time to, and I feel like sometimes, we get that when we go to work,
Yeah. I have my sister. She has 2 babies. The baby one is 6 months, and the other one is 2 years old. And her husband is an entrepreneur, like I say. And we always talk about this, how hard it is for us women
Yeah.
just to be taking care of the kids. Also, we have work. Because, in this society right now, with all the things that we had to buy and how houses and everything is expensive, we have to try to look for stuff, and it's really hard for women in that way. So that's what I was asking you that question, how you be present with your family, even though you have a business
Absolutely.
and career and everything.
It's hard on both sides, right? It's hard for the men and for the women. And here's the thing that I would say to everybody that everybody might not like me to say, but put your
But
phones
he's gonna
down.
say it anyway.
That, I like
Yeah,
that.
put your phones down.
Yes.
That's true.
Right? And I tell that to everyone I meet, put your phone down. How many times are you sitting there in a conversation? So here's the thing, when you have a phone in front of you, you're telling the person that's in front of you that you're not as important as that phone.
Exactly.
Even when the phone is on the table here, you're also saying, hey, if there's something else more important than here, then I'm going to go to this instead. If it's in your pocket and it's completely hidden, then you're saying you're the most important thing in front of you right now.
I love that.
Right? So those are kind of the things too. So one thing you could do to implement as with your family, what you're doing is, hey, this time we're having dinner, 6 to 7, whatever it is, 6 to 8, no phones. We have a basket, make it fun. We got this little basket, this is the depository for our phone.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And
have a little one, so I don't have that problem yet.
and what you
But-
could do is make it fun too, is because you
Yeah.
could say the first one after we're all done with this to grab their phone, puts $1 in the pot. Right? And then you're
Oh,
doing
I
something
love
fun.
That is
when I have teenagers and they have phones, I
Yes,
like
and
that.
then, yeah, exactly. So you do something like that, even if it's your
My
as a
kid.
couple, yeah, even if you don't have kids.
I will not give my kids phones until they're 16. Sorry.
I thought that too, but
Yeah, me
that
too.
didn't happen.
Do you? How long did it take for you?
Well, my
Like, how
youngest
long
is
did
11
you
by the time.
last?
Yeah,
Oh,
so she's
really?
11, yeah, because she needed it for school. Now in school
Yeah.
they use a lot of this stuff.
Oh, but now school is bank phones.
Some of them do, yeah. So it's because if you abuse it, you're gonna lose it, type thing. And that's the big key. But I gotta jump out of here real quickly and go to Klein.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I want to leave you with one thing here too: is when you're managing things yourself with your husband. We're talking about husbands and
Yes,
relationships. Too, when you're managing that, when you come from a place of it's so hard, you're bringing that context into your relationship
No.
versus I get to. So I want you to just practice that this week and just
get
change
to.
it from it's so hard to I get to have all these things. I get to have children that I get to serve. I get to love
I
an
love
amazing
that.
husband that I'm
Yeah.
still married to because most people are divorced, right? So I get to do these things. So when you
Yes.
change that context, you'll see the dynamic between you and your husband change. Because now instead of I do all these things, I do all this work.
Yes.
Of course you do. That's your job,
Yes.
right? And so it's like, it's like you don't get a break. You don't get to take a holiday from loving your wife. It doesn't work that way. You keep at it. So just change that one thing, and then I'll tell you more later. But just make it really simple and change your context from I have to, or it's so hard that I get to.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you have all your faculties, right?
And that goes along the lines of grateful. I hear when you say I get to, I hear grateful.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I
Yeah.
get to
Exactly.
do that.
And that's the thing that we don't realize on both sides, both on the men and women, that once you're in a relationship, it's about service. And how can I serve this other human being that I've
Yeah.
chosen to be with? Because when you stop, because at the very beginning, you have the best makeup on.
Yeah.
You make sure you have the best smells on. You're like, okay, I feel like I'm good. You go out there, you look good, right?
Yeah.
And the man too, he's like wooing the woman. But when you stop doing that, they found you and they got attracted to you because of that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if they stop, then we feel like we get sold a bill of goods.
Do you think that, just one more thing, do you think that that is a universal, or do you think that that is kind of a Utah thing, or do you think, where do you think
It's
that
universal. Yeah, I've been to several countries. I have friends in different countries, and it's
Yeah.
all the same dynamic.
Okay.
I was lost on that. What was
Universal
it?
means is it only specific to this area, or is it other areas as well?
Okay.
¿Es todo lugar, todo el mundo?
Todos están lo mismo.
Todo mismo mundo.
Oh, I don't think. Well, in my case, my husband saw me every night without makeup, and he always says, "You're the beautiful woman of the world." The best. Something like that.
Yes. And what do you say when he says that?
And I said, "Really?"
Yes.
You're like, no, I'm not.
And I said, "Really? I don't have makeup on." And he said,
And And
Doesn't matter. You don't need that.
This is a perfect example
Yeah.
because some women will say, "You're just trying to make me feel good, right?" Or whatever it is. Don't set the man up. Does this dress make me look fat? No, you're just fat naturally. Okay, it's not the dress. But I can't say that.
Yeah, it's-
But don't set them up.
Yeah,
But
right.
if you're going to bed and you take out the makeup and he says that, you're like, "Oh, thank you, honey. That just makes me feel so good."
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Because when you do that, you're going to invite more compliments. Because if
Yeah.
you come out of a negative way or turn out like, "Oh, you're just making that up," they're like, "Oh, I won't do that again." Or if he says something, you react. Like sometimes a woman will react to something and get on the man about it, so he reacts to her reaction. Then she reacts because he's reacting. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
let's just back up a little bit and let's find out. Instead of coming from a reaction place, it is hard. It takes practice.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen overnight. But if you remember these things, remember context.
Yeah.
Just change the context to I get to.
Yeah.
And when you come from that, you're gonna. I promise you, you're gonna come back next week. And you're like, Jake, that was magic. What just happened? Right? Because really, you're in charge of the relationship. You don't understand how powerful you are in the
Yeah.
relationship with your husband and your family.
No, actually, that's
Right.
one of the things that I did to convince my husband to move to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was trying to force him and stuff like that. But then when I talked to him, how important it was for me, and he was so open, and how he was more like open to see that he loves me and he wants to do this for me instead of like fighting and like trying to make him do it. And I feel like that is
Yeah,
important.
you lose sight as a woman. You lose sight of that if you do certain things that your man feels that you're
Yeah.
invested in. You're 100%. If you're 100% in, and I know that for a fact, we will do everything for you. We will give the
Exactly.
world to you,
Yes.
right?
And I see that.
And when
Yeah.
and then when there's that negative stuff, oh, I have to do this, and I look at all my wants or the pains, and then they start backing up, right? It's a
Exactly.
dynamic.
Yeah.
But the more that you're that cheerleader, the more that you give, the more he'll give the world to you. It's crazy how it works that way too. And so just understand the dynamic. It's easy to get caught up when you have kids, especially because it's another dynamic and
Yeah.
it's tougher. But you can make it through it, and as long as you get to do
Get
it,
to do it.
the
Not
difference.
need. What was that?
Have to.
Have to.
Yeah.
No, get.
right? Yeah, because you get to. You're not,
¿Cómo sería en español?
get to or have
Tengo.
to. Tengo, I have.
Tengo.
But I have to would be a que tengo.
Que
Like I have to.
tengo.
Yeah. And so.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's-
Oh no, no.
We're teaching you Spanish today. not just
Yes,
Spanish,
we will do in the Spanish one,
Un día
okay?
voy a practicar español todo.
Sí,
Todo.
muy bien.
And then some of us will become fluent.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
That's me too. I think I always say I'm street smart enough to speak Spanish, but definitely not fluent. One day. Well,
Well,
thanks,
we can
guys. For,
practice.
yeah, this has been fantastic. You guys can keep
Yeah.
talking, but I got to take off here. But thank you for
No, thank
pulling
you.
us in here and doing this. And Paola, our
Yeah.
newest agent here at the Real Estate Essentials.
Thank you.
that would be like
Yay!
I'm not hearing it in mine, but
You're
Oh,
not
oh,
hearing
that's-
it?
yeah. Oh, okay, maybe
The
on-
cheers.
You might have to be plugged in.
oh,
here,
okay.
so.
Oh, we're cheering. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
We were cheering. Well, we had a little cheering going on here too. So, but you'll see it on the replay
Yep.
because of there. So it's awesome to.
Oh,
see
thank
this.
you.
It's cool.
This is my first time doing a podcast. Thank you,
You
Jake.
start somewhere.
Yeah. I
Isn't
love
he
that.
the best?
He is
Right?
amazing.
Well, thank
Learned
you.
so much.
Oh, you are awesome.
You're just guys are just kidding.
No,
See,
no,
that's the
that's
difference
good.
between thank you
Yes.
when somebody gives you a compliment
Yes.
is really hard for us just to say thank you.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, you don't really mean that, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Because now
yeah.
you're trying to.
Yeah, because exactly.
But
Yeah.
if you
Just
take
own
it,
it,
yeah,
own it.
own who you are,
Yeah.
own what's going on, and if you screw up, own that too. Look, this is your first podcast.
Exactly.
You did wonderful, by
You
the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
You
guys.
did great, right? And so it's like there's moments. And if you notice when you watch back, there's moments where you stopped.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? But I also know how to pick it up and keep
Yes,
it
I
going.
saw that because you're a pro. That's why.
Well, thank you. So, but when you've been doing it for a while, you just learn those little cues
Yes.
of when things slow down to pick it up. And as time, you get better at doing that to keep it flowing. Because when people are listening to you online, whether they're doing the podcast, whether it's just the audio or they're actually watching it too, a lot of people like watching it now. It's like starting to evolve. When you're driving and
Yeah.
stuff, you want to listen to that podcast, but there's something there's a dynamic, that connection, that
Connection.
people connect to you.
Yeah.
Even when we're looking at each other, we were talking about that this morning.
Yeah.
When we're talking to each other like this, looking at each other in the eyes and speaking like this, they connect with us on the computer, on the screen, on their telephone, whatever it is. Even with us looking at each other, because it's like they're part
I
of the
was just
conversation.
thinking about that because sometimes when I'm talking, I want to look at the camera, but I feel like the connection is with you guys,
Yes.
and I want to talk with you, and so
It
there's
is
something.
because the more connected you are with your audience inside here, the more they will be connected out
More
there. to
engaged
you.
they are.
I love
Exactly.
that.
So remember that too. So if you're doing one-on-ones, if it's just you, look at the camera because now I'm having a one-on-one
Yes.
conversation with you.
But
But if I'm having a one-on-one conversation, people eventually will feel like that you're being left out.
Yes, that's true.
And there's this uncomfortableness that starts to develop and they
Yes.
won't identify that and they go, it's weird. But if we're here, they want to be part of this
yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
Make
it's
sense?
kind of, I love that.
Yeah.
And
so
body
understand-
language too. Body
Yes.
language especially.
Exactly. So understanding that.
I'm the
So
one who always talks with hands. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Oh, it's
But
you.
it's me.
So it's
you know,
great.
you got it. Okay.
Thank
All right,
you,
I'm out of here.
Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Bye. And thank you guys for being here too.
Yeah.